Today I'm going to show you how to do 2 splits from one hive using the BS Honeybees nuke. Hello, I'm Griffiths. Welcome to Winning Griffith. Here we talk everything beekeeping, farming, countryside living, and we do reviews as well. Now we've come that time of year, it's the end of July, and I need to start thinking about making splits, making overwintered nukes to take with me through the winter. So I've got some extra bees in the spring to replace, hopefully not a lot of winter losses, but you do get winter losses, and I want to make 10 nukes up this year. So that's roughly going to be 10% of the amount of hives that I've got. So we've roughly got 100 hives now. I'm going to make 10 splits, so hopefully I'll have those 10 in spring. Now this year I've decided to use the BS Honeybees nukes for this, and there's a really good reason for this. You can split to get 2 nukes into these boxes as you've seen on a previous video, and you could do a small split then. So what I want to do is a 2 frame split, 2 in this side, 2 in that side. I'm not going to be taking that much reserves away from this hive, but it doesn't really matter. We've come to the time of year now. This hive, I think, has only produced roughly half a super full of honey. They're not going to produce any more. So I'm going to take the bees from this box and create 2 splits with it. Now, very important, when you do any splits, check the colony for disease. I know all the hives on this site, I checked them recently for disease. It's disease free. And the rule I try to do is when I make a 2 split, so a 2 nuke split from one hive, I try to get all the bees from one hive into one nuke. Obviously that's not a 100% rule. Sometimes you can't do that. If this hive isn't big enough to take 4 frames out of it, then you've got to do 2 and 2. But try and do this as a minimum from the same site, so you're really reducing the risk of disease, etc. But by taking 2 splits from one hive, you know this hive hasn't got disease, then there's no disease or mixing within that one nuke box at all. So very important you check for disease before you do splits, because the last thing you want to do is start taking splits from a diseased hive and spread that disease everywhere. So make sure you look out for that. Well, more than anything, it's the EFB and the AFB you need to look for. It's the foul brood. So, and even if you're going through some hives and there's a lot of chalk brood in there, a lot of sac brood in there, pick another hive to make the split from, because they've got a little bit of problems. They'll probably get over it, but once you break that hive down into a nuke, it becomes more stress. They might not be able to cope with it. So pick healthy hives to do this. Well, there's nothing left to do now. Crack this hive open, show you how I'm going to make 2 splits, and talk you through the whole process of how I'm going to do this. So let's get into it. So first job, take that away, and I've got the divider in and I've got frames, so I'm going to take 2 out of there, 2 out of there. Now that's how I do it. I keep the foundation frame on the side, so we'll have 2 frames of bees in there, 2 frames of bees in there, and this being the colour that is dark, they're going to be able to share the heat between them. So if the cold weather comes, doesn't matter. This is a great way of making a mini split, because they've got the same heat as a big hive or a big nuke. Now another trick when you're making nukes, I've got buckfast bees in this hive. So I'm going to be buying buckfast queens or a light colour queen. Because if I were to put a darker bee in here, they might not accept her because she's a different colour. So always try to pick the right colour bees for the colour queen that you're going to use. That's not a 100% rule, but you will get better acceptance rates when you're doing it like that. Okay. Nice frame of brood. Brood in all stages. Ah, that's lovely. That is a perfect frame to make a nuke out of it. Double check now. Very, very, very important the queen isn't on these frames. She's not. That's on this back. Is that just a bit of stores? No, there's eggs in there. Queen's laid it up. There's the queen. So we're going to keep it on that frame, keep it back there out the way. Lovely job. Let's get into the next frame. Lots of eggs, lots of brood in all stages, little bit of stores. And now I'm not that bothered about stores at the minute, because the first thing I'm going to do to this nuke is feed it. So I want them to start drawing this third frame out. Lots of fresh eggs in there. What I'm after more than anything is seal brood. So I want these bees to hatch through the nuke quite quick and build their numbers up. I don't want the bees to wait 20 something days. Ooh, that's a lovely frame again. Look at the bees on that. They've got a bit of burr comb in the way there. So when you come across that, that's going to mess your bee space up. Just cut that off. You'll shake the bees off there now in a bit. Lovely job. Oh, don't need this bit of drone comb. Just going to drop that in the smoker out the way so the bees don't try to get at it. Fired a bucket, I'd have kept that to melt down. So I've got a smaller brood nest here now. I'm going to bring that up into the middle of the hive. Always keep the nest in the middle, optimum heat for them. And as it's still end of July, they've got all of August to build back up. But this nuke now, I'll be taking the honey super off this, well, next week. And then I'm going to start feeding this nuke as well, get them to draw these extra frames out. That's them out the way, closed up. 2 splits, that easy. Now you can see it by the hive here now. I've got lots of bees in there. Some of these bees are going to fly out now because I'm going to keep this nuke on the same location. They're going to fly back into this hive, but that's okay. Plenty of, well, I say plenty of stores. There are stores on each side, because I want to keep these bees in here now. I'm going to feed these, and I might not feed them right now, but tonight give these flying bees a chance to get back. Then I'm going to feed this nuke right up, and this is how I'm going to introduce the queen. So I'm going to give this nuke now 5 days. So I'm going to feed it tonight, then I'm going to leave it 5 days, and I'm going to go through all the frames, cut all the queen cells out. Then roughly about 3 days after that, then I'm going to introduce the new queen into the hive. Now the way I do it, I make the nuke hopelessly queenless. So I make sure all those laying eggs, they're past the 3-day age. So there is no eggs or larvae in the hive for the bees to make a new queen. So when you introduce a new queen, they're going to be much more ready to accept her. So put the lid back on this now. And move it. Well, that's it. You've seen how easy it is to make 2 splits into 1 nuke using the BS Honeybees hive or nuke. Very, very simple, and it's a great way of increasing numbers. And by having the 2 hives into 1, you can afford to make a small split. They're going to keep that box warm because there's 2 of them in there. And by the time I add a mated queen into this box, give them another 3 weeks, 4 weeks definitely, there's going to be a lot more bees in there, because the bees that's already in at the brood stage now, we've got fresh eggs, brood in all stages, and seal brood. They're going to be hatching through over the next few weeks now anyway, and then from next week on, when the queen starts laying, another 4 weeks, those brood is going to start emerging. And in about 2 weeks time, maybe 3 weeks time, I'll be moving these nukes, one of them from here into another nuke, and allowing the half of this nuke to take over the full frame. I'm not going to overwinter them on 3 frames, I'm going to overwinter them on 6. Well, hopefully you enjoyed watching this video. Hopefully you feel confident enough to make your own splits, either using the BS Honeybees nukes or a similar type of nuke. They're pretty much all good nukes on the market these days. Well, if you like this video and you want to watch more of the same kind of content, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I try my best to put a new video every week. Thanks for watching.